This year, as gigs are canceled
and stages go dark,
it can feel hopeless.
Don't let the lights go out on you or your bandmates.
Your union brothers and sisters are here for you.
The AFM is fighting to get members help with unemployment assistance.
We're working in D.C. to help protect working people.
And we're standing up to get musicians back performing safely.
And most importantly, we want you to be healthy both physically and mentally.
Please reach out and check in on your friends.
It's okay to ask if they're okay, and it's okay to not be okay.
We will return again when the curtains call.
Until then, stay safe.
Stay healthy.
Stay positive.
Find more resources and assistance
At AFM.
.org/help.
And remember,
Together, we are stronger.
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 Good afternoon, good evening, and especially good morning to our guests today. Wherever you're watching us, whenever you're watching us, welcome to Conical Supremacy. We're back for another episode, and we got a really good one today. I'm really looking forward to it. My name's John Norenko, and I'd like to introduce my co-host and the guy who thought this thing up, Mr. Doug Tornquist. Hey, Doug, how you doing, man?
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm okay, man. I'm actually kind of happy today. We got together yesterday and played some stuff, and thank God. Now I know what to work on this week.
We're going to do it, John. We're going to record all that stuff.
No, I'm really upset at myself because I think a lot of people out in the audience will know this. We were sight reading a bunch of stuff, and I felt like I was just barely hanging on with the sight reading. And you and I both know that you get to do it a lot more than I do, but it's such a practiced, learned skill. I mean, it's not that you can't play it, it's just getting it that first time, reading it all. And the more you do, the better you are at it. I just, it kind of ticks me off because I haven't been doing it a lot.
Well, you do realize that even if that was your first time on those duets, I've been playing them for about 20 years. So I kind of had an unfair advantage. And
well, man, I mean, it's, anytime there's going to be unfair advantage. I mean, I let you pick. But luckily I took the tuba 2 part, and I was really happy about that.
Well, and I handicapped myself with the tenor tuba, so we're good.
No, you know what, dude, that horn, do you have a second just to put that on camera for a second? Because I'd really like to talk, or is it a hassle?
It's over in the corner. I'll go get it. Okay.
Do you mind? All right, so bum 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 bum. So we used this horn a bunch yesterday, and one of the things that it's just a beautiful sounding horn, and it's truly a tenor tuba.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Well, it is. There were 2 of these. Okay, it's an Alexander tenor tuba. I don't know how old it is. Maybe it's from the 60s. There were 2 of these in town. Roger Bobo had one, and Tommy Johnson had one. And Tommy would always play Beadlow on this. He would say in lessons, that's solo. If you got the right equipment, nothing to it. He also liked to play Petrushka on this, which I know might raise some eyebrows, but it's a very cool sound.
You played it yesterday, and it's actually, that's kind of why I brought it up today, because there's that sound thing, that character aspect of stuff when you play stuff. Mm-hmm. We talked about this at length yesterday, but that thing fits the bill like nobody's business. I mean, it truly does.
It's unique. Yeah.
And what I dig is even though it's in B flat, and it's got this amazing conical sound to it. That's round and not, strident, and also because it's you. But but you were saying the mouthpiece on that you're using is which one?
Well, okay. A little story about this instrument.
Yes, please.
Okay. The reason I have this, Norm Pearson owned this horn, and he found it on eBay, if you can imagine. And I got a call from Norm asking me if I wanted to buy it. So, of course, I said yes. And basically, Norm had bought this to play Beadlow. I don't think he'd mind me telling this story. He called me pretty much the week he got tenure, and he decided he'd rather let someone else play Beadlow.
That's what you do.
This mouthpiece, this is a Roger Bobo solo F tuba mouthpiece. and the Norm had modified the shank so it fits in here. So, the mouthpiece is a little too big. It might be not quite.
You know what?
High enough.
To be honest with you, man, I think what I heard yesterday was a beautiful marriage, because I think that the bigger mouthpiece actually provides that better airflow through the instrument to give it that warmness, that really cool sound. Seriously, man, when we were doing the trios yesterday, that was the perfect sound for that.
Well, you're going to be hearing more of it. So
yeah, I sure hope so. Hey, speaking of listening to Doug play, we've got a clip that is just pretty awesome, and it's a new piece of music for tuba and brass band, correct,
yeah,
Doug?
Yeah.
And can you give us a little background on this piece?
Sure. This piece is called the Fabulous Gecko. Gecko is the lizard that lives in tropical places, and it was brought to my a year ago. I made this little recording about a year ago. This is just a recording of a rehearsal. It's not a concert. It's unpolished. The band was sight reading. Okay. My friend and colleague and former student Sven, who plays trumpet here, asked me if I wanted to play this piece. And his friend Leo, who's a horn player, tenor horn player actually here from London, knew the composer in England. The composer's name is Peter Yard Martin. He is a cornet player and composer of substance in England. And I liked this piece so much, I asked him if he would write me a couple more. So those are coming. There's an unaccompanied piece which he says is done, and then another piece for a quintet. And the whole inspiration for that was this piece that Sven asked me to read. He had wanted to start a brass band at USC, and so he asked me to come in and read this piece. And this happened right before everything closed down. So this was a recording of a rehearsal of The Fabulous Gecko by Peter Yard Martin.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad you said it was okay for us to play this today, because I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Peter said it was okay too. I checked in with him.
Nice.
And the only thing, if you're wondering what the meter is, it's in 7/4. If you want to count along.
Well, hey, let's all take a listen to this, and Peter Yard Martin. And for those of you who are out there looking for new stuff, this is the kind of things that Doug and I try to seek out, is to try to find new music that is fun to play and sounds great. So here's a little bit of The Fabulous Gecko. Go for it, Quinn. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got the one and only Micky Wrobleski, man. Seriously, dude. I love playing that thing. And you just stuck the living snot out of the end of that, man. I mean, Doug, this is so cool. We have Micky coming from Beijing today. And Micky, can't thank you enough for getting up early and spending a little time with us today, man.
Oh, this pleasure is all mine. Thank you guys for having me. It's this is awesome.
My absolute pleasure, man. It is just so great to see you. Doug, the Gecko thing was seriously cool as hell. Just cool, man. I mean, I dig that piece. It's fun. I like the blues scale descending thing so much and everything. But I'll tell you what, man, it ain't nothing like the end of what we just heard from Micky coming on.
No, it was only an appetizer to the main course.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, for everybody out there who don't know Micky, you should. Not only is a world-class musician, but a world-class tuba player as well. And Micky, you've been fortunate enough to be playing with the Beijing Symphony now for 18 years, you told me. Mm-hmm. Being a guy from Chicago like me, that had got to be, just a shift, man. When you first got the gig, can you tell us a little bit about your whole mindset about that? Going, hey, I got a gig, but it's in Beijing.
Well, okay, where to begin? First, a little clarification. I'm actually from Minnesota.
Yes.
I got
you are.
Yes, yes.
I read your bio, and you were in Chicago for a while, right?
Oh yeah. From '97 until I came to Beijing, actually, or until I came to China, I was in Chicago. So I really cut my teeth in Chicago for sure.
That's cool.
Grew up musically there.
So originally from Minnesota, whereabouts for all our Minnesota fans out there?
Well, the township of Pike Sandy, which is now it's part of.
I've been through there. No.
Yeah, if you've ever driven to Canada, sure.
No, when I was on the road, we played all through all that portion of Minnesota all the time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, money's money. So what brought you to Chicago?
Well, actually, it was the Civic Orchestra. Yeah, I was in there in the 97-98 season. I'd been driving from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, every couple of weeks to take lessons with Gene, starting in '95.
Okay.
And so that was always a wonderful experience. You know, it was a long drive. I mean, it was 5.5 hours one way.
I'm very
so familiar. Get there and catch a CSO rehearsal, have a lesson, have some Peterson's ice cream, take down all my notes from the lesson, and then drive back. And so it was Gene that brought me Civic brought me to Chicago, and then I did the Freeway Philharmonic thing for a while, which you guys know all about.
Yes, we do.
You know,
yeah.
And I got a random email. It's funny because Tommy Johnson happened to be in Chicago.
So once again, no, hang on a second. Now, so Doug, how many times now? Every single show, right? And then Tommy Johnson did this, and then Tommy Johnson did that. I mean, what is going on with this, man?
We're gonna find out, John. But back to Mickey. So you got it. You Tommy was in Chicago. I remember that.
Yeah, they were doing Rite of Spring.
I know.
Yeah, I'll never forget it because I got to play on that Yamaha double of his, and it was meeting the man, or getting to hang out with the man for a while. And so I got this email, and they were desperately in need of a tuba player in the Shanghai Radio Symphony. And so I'll never forget, it was before their performance of Rite of Spring. We were standing outside of in the audience area at Ravinia. Is Gene Pokorny, Tommy Johnson, and myself. And so I said, look, this is the opportunity that I'm faced with. And Gene just about starts to say something, and then Tommy holds up. He's like, no, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to China, and you're going to make a difference. And that's all he said. And that's kind of been my charge ever since I came here. And that kind of made up my mind. It's like when it gets handed down, you don't argue, you just do.
When the man says this is what you're doing, that's what you're doing. And you know what? Good choice.
Hey,
because first of all, you sound friggin' awesome, and second of all, I mean, Doug, he's built a dynasty there. I mean, over the last 18 years, I mean, I've listened to your students play. I've listened to what you're doing there, and holy crap, man, way to go!
Well, thank you.
I'm serious. You're really pushing the envelope over there, and I really got to thank you because it's so great to see. It truly is. And,
I appreciate that, John. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Doug, have you had the chance to like see the Beijing Symphony in person? I have not. No. So, Mickey, when you got in there, you've got this extreme, East Asian type of thing going on, man. And here you are for a guy from Minnesota. And first of all, like I told you in the pre-show, I'm so jealous at your Mandarin skills because, I mean, first of all, did you know any Mandarin at all before you got to Beijing?
Zero.
So the immersive nature of that, I mean, how long did it take before you were conversational?
Well, I still feel like I'm learning. I mean, it's such a, there's so much meaning to every word and how you put every little character together. You can put two completely innocuous things together, and it has this huge deep meaning. So you have to be really careful with how you speak. You know, is you can just as easily say, "Are you hungry?" or have you had sex lately? You know, it's a very fine line that you walk when you're speaking.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
so in preparing to come, here, I don't know if these still exist. Barnes and Noble, does that still exist? Okay. Well, I went there and I bought as many little Mandarin on tape things as I could find, you know, so I could just plug it into a tape player and listen to the phrases. And I got these little phrase books, and I went to, there's this place called Val's Hala. It's a record store in Oak Park, Illinois. And I raided her collection and got everything she had with the Chinese orchestras doing Chinese music. So I had totally prepared myself for getting over here. But one thing I learned very quickly was that none of it meant anything. Because when you get to Beijing, you know, everybody speaks Mandarin. But when I first got here, I was in the Shanghai Radio Orchestra. And they really prefer to speak Shanghainese, which is completely different from Mandarin. So, but they'll speak with you in Mandarin, of course. Everybody speaks it. But, you know, when we break off like in their little coffee clutches and whatnot, it's Shanghainese and you can't understand anything.
Wow,
so
man.
it was interesting. It was very, very interesting. Yeah.
I mean, did you feel excluded, or were they happy to have you? Or, you know, I'm just curious because the learning curve on that, I mean, you're not only learning a language, but you're also learning this whole thing. And I'm a devotee of East Asian culture, and, you know, the wrong move, the wrong thing can be devastating on many, many different levels. And I was just wondering, you had a good sense about things, but then in a business sense as well, there's an entirely different structure and thing that goes on, because you still have to do business. And
right.
And as a musician and a gigging musician, you got to sit out there and how do I get gigs? How do I, you know, do that? Working your way into where you are now. Did you find that to be a slow process, a fast process? I mean, I think this is universal when any of us go to a different country where that language isn't spoken that we've grown up with, or that culture, and then we have to change that in order to fit in and to work properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's such a difference there. When, in my opinion, if I was going to go play in a French orchestra, I need to be as French as possible because everybody else is, right? I would think that attitude. I mean, Doug, what do you think about that, man? Or is that?
Maybe I have some experience. You know, I lived and worked in Japan for about 6 months, and it was fascinating. I found people were very respectful. I learned. I traveled around with a book in my lap to teach myself Japanese by reading the signs as I rode the train. And, you know, the day comes when it's not new anymore. And I've never felt so alone in my life, you know, and that's when you've really got to start. That's when you've really got to start deciding, okay, am I going to engage in this culture, or am I just going to tune it out? And I think you can make either choice, but the smart one is to engage in the culture. Learn,
absolutely.
Really study the language, study the grammar, really take an inquisitive stance. What can I do to make my life better here? And
yeah, and I totally agree with you, Doug. And I think one of the interesting things is for us as musicians, since as my mother always say, you hear everything first. Because we do hear that, because we do, I think it might be a little bit easier for us because it's very similar. You know, languages are music. Music is language. You know, that whole thing, and it's just a different set, as it were. You know, I'm a very big fan of Indian music. There's a bunch of stuff to learn there. I've delved in East Asian music, and there's a bunch of stuff to learn in there as far as what that is. And Micky, did you find yourself playing differently at first, or you know what I mean? Just so you could sit in the section and be cool, because these guys are coming from a different place than you are. I mean, was that the case, or was it not? Am I wrong on that?
Oh, that's actually a very, very good question. So with coming to an orchestra here, one thing that I found out very quickly was that a lot of the influence came from the Russian school for the brass musicians, and so there tended to be a kind of a bent towards a real aggressive style of playing, and so when I came in, you know, having been with Gene for all these years and been surrounded with, you know, those great musicians in Chicago, there was like a seismic shift in the orchestra when I got in there. So the very first thing that I did with the orchestra was Sibelius' second Night on the Bald Mountain and Nabucco. That was the first concert I ever played with the orchestra. And so immediately, just from the very opening of that little section with the trombones in Nabucco, in the first rehearsal, the whole orchestra just kind of, you know, turned around to see what was going on, because it was a completely different approach to what they had been used to. And so from that point forward, I think everybody just realized that, hey, we can get a lot done without killing ourselves all the time. I mean, those moments exist in Shostakovich or
of course,
smaller, but and I should point out here that one of the first thing that I did when I came to Beijing is I got copies of all the Orchestra Pro CDs for all the brass instruments, and at the first rehearsal, I gave one to everybody.
Awesome.
So that they had a real sound model to go off of.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant, man.
I mean, not to say that, you know, this is the way it has to be done, but just like, look, here's maybe you like this sound. Maybe you want to try that.
Have you guys checked this out thing? Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Because at that time, you know, in 2003, they didn't have access to any of this stuff. So, and I also gave them the, the famous brass recording, the antiphonal music of Gabrieli. Mm-hmm. I gave everybody a copy of that and their Orchestra Pro. So just, let them know that, hey, maybe let's take it back a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally cool. We're lucky today. Doug had his little tenor tuba out, and we were talking about Bidlow, but we actually have a nice little slice of Micky playing Bidlow, and this is with the Beijing Symphony, correct?
Yes.
And man, first of all, wow. But
yeah.
I'd like, if you don't mind, I'd really love to hear you in action right now with the orchestra. So let's go ahead and roll that cue. Here's a little taste of Bidlow with Micky. right. So seriously, dude, absolutely beautiful. Your pitch is unbelievable. I mean, you're just pegging off this stuff like nobody's business. So stop it. Stop making us all look bad.
Can we ask what instrument you played on, and how did you get so lucky to have a tempo that quick? Did you ask for that, or was that the conductor's tempo?
That's a great question.
You're right. So the answer to your first question was it's a Mirphone Firebird, is what I did that on. And as far as the tempo goes, I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag here, but we actually did that 6 times in a row, start to finish.
No way.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. Yeah.
So which take was that?
I couldn't tell you. I think it might have been the last one, because that's where we stopped. So
that's not cool, dude.
Hey, it's like there's this great line that Herseth had, right? It was I think it was like Zarathustra or something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Reiner's like, I just want to play it until you make a mistake. And Herseth goes, well, I've got until 12:30.
12:30, yeah.
But no, we did it. The conductor, he just like we played the whole thing and then stopped. He's like, again, 6 times we did it. Yeah.
Unbelievable, Micky. Are you one of those? I'm one of those guys where the more I play, the better it feels. I mean, is that kind of who you are? Where the more the horns on the face, the better it feels, the better it gets. That.
Oh, sure, yeah. But when you do it again and again, there's always that little kernel in the back that's like, what's wrong? Why are we doing this again? And then you start thinking about all the colleagues that are sitting on stage with you. It's like, how bad am I screwing this up? But
awesome.
Yeah, when we got through the last, I think that must have been the last take, because when we got through it, he just turned the page over, and I guess he had exactly what he wanted. And it was one of those things where it might not even have been me. It could have been something that he just wasn't hearing from the timpani or not getting out of the cellos or something. Who knows? But we we pulled through as a team and we got it. So
first of all, the orchestra sounds wonderful, as do you. But in our pre-show, we were talking, and I think everybody out there would be really interested. The orchestra and you have been back since July, correct?
That's right. Yes.
So lucky. You're so lucky. And then you were telling me, how many performances since July?
120.
I mean, come on, man. It's like
I know.
Seriously back to work, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We've already had 1 national tour since then.
Really?
Yeah.
And how's that working out? I mean, the vaccine and everything. I mean, is it prevalent in China right now?
I think for right now, the vaccine is voluntary. Okay. So if you want to take it, you can. It was a month or so ago, in our little orchestra group, they sent out like a flash mail saying anybody who wanted it could go ahead and get it. I was considering it, but I remember reading somewhere that if you had any sort of, because I had contracted Bell's palsy a few years ago. Oh. And so I had read that if you had any sort of issues with that, you might want to stay away from that for now. So as far as the national tour is concerned, was there an extreme level of caution taken there as far as contagion is concerned and stuff like that? So was that a hassle, or were you kind of looking? Was that cool with you? Oh, it was no issue at all, really. I mean, it was a lot of checkups. Everybody, a couple days prior to our leaving, everybody got the acid test. Yeah. And then everybody just had to do a check-in and register like where they'd been in the last 2 weeks, and that sort of thing. And then once that was all in order, then it was just business as usual. So pretty much in all the big areas in all the big cities in China, as we were talking in the pre-show, you scan a little QR code and it gives them all the information they need, where you've been, and it's all accounted for. So as long as someone doesn't have two phones and is like running around trying to skirt the system, then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Doug, you've been through, luckily, Doug, you've been doing some sessions as of late, and you've had to go ahead and take the time to go get tested and do all that kind of stuff on your own dime and stuff, but you're reimbursed on the end. So I'm just wondering, here we are, Micky's going, well, they're just going to take care of it for us. And the difference, as far as I'm concerned, is rather striking.
Well, we're under the jurisdiction of the county and the state, and they're the ones calling the shots, and it's just up to us to comply. And that is the reality, and I like to believe they're doing their best. The vaccines are out. I am eligible. I can't seem to get an appointment, but it's just a matter of time.
Okay. Quinn, yeah, and we'll talk in a second. But hey, Micky, there's a piece that we put up in the queue. What's it called, Quinn? I'm spacing right now.
How are you? Hey, how are you?
Oh, so there's this piece called "Hey, How Are You?" And first of all, playing on it's great. Your piano player is got a great touch. Holy crap! But can you give us a little background on this, because this isn't your normal tuba solo, and that's why what I really like about it is it's not your normal thing. So do you mind giving us a little background on that, man?
It's funny that you use those words, because there's a friend of mine. This just opens up a whole big story, and you can obviously tell that I've had my coffee, because now my mind is running like in 8,000 directions at one time. So y'all know the story of the tuba being banned, right, in China for the better part of 20 or so years, right?
Yeah, and you know what, Micky, do you mind you got like 2 minutes that you can talk about that, because I actually think a lot of our audience doesn't know that.
Okay, yes, I will. And please forgive me. This all actually ties into the piece into the "Hey, How Are You?" It really does. So
blow, man, blow.
Okay. So, as the story, and I have this now from two, one firsthand source, and from one a person who was I guess nearby or in the general area. So there was a rehearsal, and the conductor's name was Li DeLund, and he's kind of like the father of all modern conductors here in China. He's put them all forward. He actually started the Beijing Symphony. So they were in a rehearsal, and Chairman Mao's wife, Jiang Qing, was in attendance, and she was watching the rehearsal, and she would see the tuba player pick up the instrument, play a little bit, put it down while everybody's playing, and then pick it up again, put it down. So it was a very practical decision in a way. And she went up to the conductor, Li DeLun, and she said, "Do we really need that instrument in the orchestra? Because it doesn't play all the time." And so, him thinking, well, let's see, what can I do? Can I preserve the whole orchestra by not making her angry, or do I just say, okay, we can do without? So in the military bands, it was still there, but in the orchestras, it was gone.
No way.
Yeah. And so
all that music went away then.
Yeah, most of the things that they were doing during that time were, songs for the nationalistic songs. So, and they were being written at the time. So all you had to do was not orchestrate for tuba. So it wasn't that big of a deal.
Also,
right. Yeah. So, so now we fast forward to "Hey, How Are You?" Li DeLun, this conductor, his grandson is the composer of this song.
Wow, man.
And so we're in this little ad hoc group. It's called Bu Kao Pu. It's like unprepared, unrehearsed, right? And so he put this little piano score, just a solo piano piece, right, in this group. And he's like, "Hey, this is this new thing I wrote." And I was just reading through it, and it's like, "Hey, this I think would work for tuba." And so that afternoon, I orchestrated for tuba and string orchestra and piano. I sent it to him. I was like, hey, dude, what do you think about this? He's like, oh my God, this is awesome. And so it's like, do you mind if I record it? And he was, of course, very happy, to do it. So, so the version that I did here is just, just obviously piano and tuba, but it's from a little operetta that he wrote. And this "Hey, how are you" is supposed to be humans making contact with aliens for the first time.
That's awesome, man. It's just, I really like this thing. So, hey, Q, can we bring this up? Here's a little "Hey, how are you" featuring Micky. I hope you guys enjoy this. All right, so seriously beautiful, man, and just a lovely, lovely sound. But I think my favorite thing about this, and this is actually something Doug and I were talking about yesterday, is that it's that kind of music for the tuba that needs to be exhibited more, because we can be this pretty thing. We can be this, and to play the tune. In the jazz setting, some of the coolest stuff ever is when you just play the tune and you play it beautifully, and it's not about the flash, and it's not about the technique, and it's not about anything else. It's just about musicianship and playing and just sounding beautiful. And kudos to you. It's actually a lovely, lovely tune.
Beautiful.
Doug?
Yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. Do you get to play a lot of recitals in your position?
Well, when I have time, it's definitely not closed off to me. The most recent one was, let me see, last October. I have to look. Sorry. Yeah, last October. It was with the same pianist, Zhang Shuiwei. The guy is just a dream to work with. Yeah. Gene. 2 years ago, Gene, the CSO came to Beijing, and Gene gave a little recital. And Zhang Shuiwei, he was caught in the north in a snowstorm. So he arrived in Beijing on the morning of the recital. They had not rehearsed one bit. And he was doing, this Tommy Johnson's arrangement of Bach, violin concerto, and all this other stuff. And he just ate it up. Just unbelievable. Yeah.
I love those kind of guys, man, where you're just like going, I got no worries, I got no issues. It's a beautiful thing, man. No, seriously. Yeah. I mean, Doug, you've worked with piano players like that and other individuals where it's like, oh, it's you. All right, we're good. You just know.
It's good.
I mean, I'm just glad that that's everywhere, to be honest with you, man.
Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys, that he'll sit at it was so fun when the first time that Gene came, because he had worked with Gene before. And the first time that they came, Gene and I were talking, and Zhang Shu would just sit at the piano playing stuff by Bruce Broughton, or playing stuff by Korngold, or playing stuff by Max Steiner. Just he's a huge film buff like I am, or film music buff like I am. So it's two peas in the pod. But he's just one of those guys. He'll hear one and just go with it. No problem. It's all right there. I'm so jealous. So jealous.
So can I ask now, I also know you as a composer. You have a prolific output. How do you find the time for that?
Oh, that's a really good question. I guess sleep is optional. That's the only answer I could give to that. No, when it comes to composing, I have to write until I'm done. I can't,
get that.
It's very difficult for me to get in the middle of a phrase like, oh, it's time for dinner, I gotta go eat. No, I've got to finish what I have in my mind. When that's done, it's okay. But yeah, so there'll be times where, like a few years ago, I wrote something for Scott Sutherland and Gene at their Gene's Pokorny seminar for 2 tubas and pipe organ. And it's about 11-minute piece, and I wrote it in one night. The whole thing, just start to finish, boom, done. So if I've got it in my head, then it comes out real fast. This concerto that I recently did down in Taipei, based on Beowulf, I think it's a 4-movement work. It came out in about 5 days.
Wow, dude! Seriously,
totally orchestrated, everything done.
That's you're a sick human being. Hey, Q, can we?
You can say that again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I can't do that. So everybody, look up on the screen right now. Here's a few of the things that Micky has done and that are available. And Micky, do you mind talking about each one of these little windows that are up here right now, if you don't mind?
Oh,
and
sure.
Also make sure if you can send that to the chat so Quinn can put it up. Make sure you put in the publishing company and where people can get this at, in case they're interested, if you don't mind. So, like the top left-hand corner, what's this all about?
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, an artist I am not, but it's kind of a good representation of the piece itself. So this is a chamber concerto for solo tuba and saxophone quartet. I started off playing.
That's an awesome idea, bro.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out. So I started playing the tenor sax when I was in middle school, and so I've always had an affection for that instrument, or that family of instruments. And so again, this was something that came out real fast. Actually the opening little motif, that little broken chord, I just written that out and then forgot about it. And then a dear friend of mine, Jerry Grupner is the guy's name. We played together in the 451st Army Band in Fort Snelling, Minnesota. He passed away, and it kind of hit me. And then I was sitting down and I was going through my little manuscript book, and I saw this little thing, and I played around with it a little bit. And then a few days later, this concerto came out.
Awesome, dude.
And yeah, so it's all, I jokingly refer to it as my 16-bit concerto, because that sound that you get from the saxophones is just like, Super Mario World all the time. So
totally cool. So
yeah.
the next one, dance for two tubas and piano.
Oh, okay. So that was written for Sergio Carolino and Gene.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hey, Quinn, don't knock Doug out. People like Doug more than me. There he is. All right, cool. All right, so please continue, my friend.
Yeah, so Sergio Carolino has this festival in Portugal, and I knew that Gene was going to be going there for one summer, and I wanted to write something for them specifically. Time got away from me. The orchestra was busy. Things just didn't happen, so I didn't get it to them in time. But anyway, those are the two players that I had in mind, and it's just a fun piece. It's written for Gene and Sergio, so it's not easily accessible technically. It's kind of tricky, but you put in the work. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome, dude. Hey, Quinn, can you slide over so I can see you? So the Telemann book, I want to thank you again publicly for sending me an early copy of that. The only reason why I asked is because you sent one to Doug, and I'm a huge Telemann fan because it lays so well on the horn. It's so much fun to play. It really is. Can you tell us, first of all, I'm a big advocate of playing other instruments' music, but Telemann lays so well, and the way you annotated everything is spot on, bro. But what got you into the mode? All right, so we need to play Telemann. So as a tuba player, we need to play. No, because you're right. I think we do. Why?
Actually, it's because of our principal flute. He studied with Jim Walker, actually. Oh
man.
Yeah, the guy is he's phenomenal. I can't think of any other words. Nikola Atanasov, he's from Macedonia, and he's he's incredibly gifted. And so we're roommates on tours. And so he's always giving me new music to listen to. It's like, hey, dude, you got to check this out. This new recording of this, new recording of that.
Cool.
And he's like, well, I remember one day it just kind of came up randomly, and he was playing, and some Telemann was playing. I was like, dude, that's really beautiful. It's like, oh man, this is like our bread and butter. And so I was like, okay, I got to do this. And then it was just recently, I decided, well, kind of out of boredom, but also just out of kind of wanted to do it for a while. I took every one of the 12 Telemann flute fantasies and then made a tuba version wherein I composed all original music, but everything else is the same. So if the first one is 70 measures long, the first one of mine is 70 measures long.
Right.
Same key,
right.
Same tempos, everything. Nothing has changed except for the notes. So it was just kind of a personal little challenge to myself.
Dude, you know what? That's like back in the day when I was in college in comp class or something like that. Here's what it's supposed to sound like. Now I want to hear what you sound like. And it's such a beautiful exercise. It truly is, to figure out, how tired of your crap you are, and how tired no, I'm serious, man, because we all get tired of our stuff. I mean, I got to improvise every day. You have no idea. It's just like, really, John? But this is so cool. I mean, having what you think and what Telemon thought next it's just a really, really cool idea, man. And thank you so much for getting it out there. Everybody needs to pick up this book as far as I'm concerned. No, seriously. There's technique aspects to it. There's line aspects to it. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can cop from this book. But let's move on because I want to get to everything.
Okay.
The poem for solo trumpet and string orchestra. All right, so you're a friggin' tuba player, man. What's up?
Right. Must be on crazy pills.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, this came about. There's a wonderful trumpet player named Kenneth DiCarlo. He's out on the East Coast.
Oh, I know him.
Okay. Yeah. His partner passed away, and so Ken was over on tour with the New York Phil, and we were just talking, and he's just such a wonderful character, just a great person. And immediately my brain just started working. Like, I've got to write something for this guy. So that's how that came about. And nothing more than that. Just met the guy, had a really great impression, and just wanted to write something for him. And so the poem came out. Yeah.
That's so great, man. We're kind of time-wise. I want to get to one more thing.
Okay.
So everybody out there, the rest of the pieces out here, Concerto for bass clarinet, everything else. Micky, can you tell us where everybody can take a look at this stuff? Because you have is it your own publishing company now?
Yes.
Well, yeah. So can you tell everybody about that? Can we get Micky up on the screen for right now, and so he can talk about his own thing? So tell us about how that started and where everybody can check out your stuff, man, because I think it's really important. You're writing really great music, and when there's great music, I think everybody should hear about it. So please.
Okay. Well, thank you, John, for the kind words. Well, right now we're in the process of rebranding everything, so it's going to be Micky Wrobleski's Music Workshop is where you're going to be able to get everything from. All of this stuff is, for the time being, if anybody wants to see anything, they can contact me privately via email, and I can send them a screenshot or a sample score or something. That's totally not a problem. But we're right now, my library of works is really extensive. So getting through to all of them to put the new logo on them and everything, it's going to take me a bit of time between, there's only so much I can do while I'm waiting to come in and Mahler. I can't get everything done as quickly as I'd like to, but it's definitely on the way. And we're working to get an online shop set up so that people can, if they want it, they can just order it straight away there, either PDF or, but for the time being, if people are interested, they can just contact me via email, Gmail or iCloud. And then I can, get the music to them.
That'd be great, man. Hey, Doug, we've been talking about, like recitals and doing live stream stuff. And it seems to me that because of your thing over there and your student, we should do at least an hour of performance of Micky Wrobleski music. Okay, done. I mean, I think that's a cool idea, to be honest with you. And to really feature your writing, Micky, because I really like it. There's a lot of great stuff there, man.
That's great.
And
thank you.
We have one more video in the queue, and it's Eulogy for the Common Man. Is that what it is?
Oh, Elegy for the Common Man.
Elegy,
right.
Elegy for the Common Man. And apparently, there's this bit of a story behind this, and I would love for you to tell us about it.
Okay, so there's this young composer. His name is Ho Wong, a film composer here in Beijing, and I've long been a fan of his work. He writes some very interesting stuff, very imaginative, and so I a long time ago I said, hey, you really should write something for tuba. If you ever feel it, just let me know, and I'll perform it. No questions asked. His father passed away, and a couple of days later, I got this piece in the mail. And it's very, when you hear it, it's very Arvo Part. And you can really feel the pain in it. And so I recorded it for him here in the house. He just like gave me a little, click track and was like, this is it. And then he put together the video aspect of it, because he's really into that, the whole editing and whatnot. And I should mention, as long as I'll just mention Tommy Johnson one more time. So you can see here in the background, this is the instrument that I recorded it on. This is Tommy Johnson's Lehman double tuba.
You've got that?
I found it in Japan.
No way, dude. Oh, see, look at Doug. Look at Doug. He is just freaking out, man.
I wondered where that went.
Yeah,
real quick story. So there's this place called Tuba 88. There's this shop called Tuba 88 in Tokyo. I had just premiered my Beowulf Concerto in Taipei. It was a week-long tuba thing with Oystein Vadsvik and Patrick Sheridan and Stephen Mead and Demadri Thurman. So I didn't want anything to do with tubas. Nothing. Right. It's over. I was like, okay, I'm done. But everybody's like, oh, you're going to Japan after this? You have to go to Tuba 88. I don't have to. I really don't have to. Really don't have to. So we go on vacation. We go to Tokyo, living it up, enjoying it, just no tubas. And then on the last day, Ewan says to me, why don't you we're leaving anyway. Why don't we just go? He's like, oh, fine. So I go. And we get there just at opening time, and we're talking, and I was very interested in double tubas anyway. And I said, and that's what I was looking on their website. So, you have any double tubas? Yes. And they brought me this Lionel Weston, which I played it in the room, and Ewan looks at me and he goes, "You're not going to buy that, right?" I said, no. I'm just trying it. I'm just trying it out. And I said, oh, and I gave him the story about Tommy Johnson's Yamaha double and how I, met him. And the guy's eyes lit up. He said, Tommy Johnson. And he runs, and there's like this big crop of tubas in bags. And in the middle, he pulls this one out in a bag. His bag is nothing to write home about. Something, he found this buried under a tractor somewhere, So he pulls it out of the bag, and I'm looking at it, and he goes, wait. And he goes and gets me this article from this Japan wind band journal. And it's talking about this instrument.
Oh, man.
And so immediately, Norm Pearson, Gene Picorni emails, guys, is this it? Everybody that I could think of. And so I said, don't sell it. Just hold on to it. He's like, don't worry. Nobody's looked at it in like 5 years. It's never even been out of the bag.
Wow.
And so asked him how much it was. I said, just don't sell, let me think about it. And so went back to Beijing and mulled it over, and I couldn't let it go. It was just, I played it, and I was like, there's something so special about this sound. The provenance aside, there's just really something about it that just grabs you. And so I called the guy back, look, I don't know when I'm going to have downtime, but hold the instrument, I'm going to buy it. And so I flew back. It was maybe a month or so later. I flew back to Japan. He and his wife met me at the hotel. The instrument was all ready, all sparkly clean and shined up. And then the next day I was back in Beijing, and I used it in the orchestra the next day, which was
awesome,
dangerous.
What were you playing to figure that out, man? I mean, what was it that was dangerous? What piece?
Well, it's the instrument itself it's kind of squirrely.
Yeah. This is not the one that Rob Stewart built, is it?
I think it might be.
I remember seeing that in Rob's shop when he was building it. Yeah. And this was the dream of Tommy's life. He talked about a double tuba for decades. And I had no idea that it's in your house.
Yeah.
So Doug.
Yeah.
Doug, there's a reason for you to go to Beijing now, big time. Not only just to see Mickey.
I've been dreaming of China ever since I saw Dick and Pat Nixon on the Great Wall. So yeah.
No, as you should. So Mickey, do you mind if we play this for you right now?
Please.
Because you handle the instrument exquisitely, and you're right, it has a signature sound to it, and kudos to you for saving that, but also kudos to you for playing the living snot out of it too, man. It's just awesome, awesome stuff. So here's a little bit of it's Elegy for the Common Man, correct? So Quinn.
He could have edited me out.
No.
Oh well.
I wanted to see the real Mickey. Anyway.
He's just stunning.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, right on, Doug. I mean, that's cool stuff, man. And Doug, we always talk about technique aspects of stuff and everything else like this, but this is the hard stuff, in my opinion, as far as making it work, blowing through, no white space, no spaces. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing on how to, not to mention from a motivic standpoint too, trying to make sure every single motive is exactly the same. And Mickey, you just nailed it. It was just, regardless of the range, it was all right there, man. And just, I love listening to you play, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It truly is. And I don't say that. But what really bothers me, Doug, is that we're out of time.
I know. There's so much more to do and talk about. We've missed a lot of the other facets of your career, your recording career, your teaching career.
Absolutely.
But we got a really good taste of your playing, and I'm so glad. And your joyous outlook on life, and your incredible work ethic, and the incredible commitment to integrity and quality, and just the sheer stunning musicianship that you bring to everything.
Absolutely.
What a treat.
Absolutely. I'd also like to add on to that. I want to thank Doug very much for today's show, because you have been trying to get Mickey for, I don't know, it's been a couple of months now. And of course he's busy. I mean, 100 plus, concerts and stuff, but, and teaching and blah, blah, blah. But Doug, thanks so much for making this happen today, man. And Mickey, thank you for waking up early to spend some time with us. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a morning person, and that just about killed me. I'd be drinking I'd have 2 cups of coffee in each hand, each hand. Okay, what? But man, I can't thank you enough for your time today. And Doug, thanks again for making this happen.
And and Mickey's got a really important performance and broadcast tonight, so best of luck on that.
Yes. Play well, my friend. Be cool. Doug, you got anything else, man?
No. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's really been a pleasure and an honor to share a stage, as it were, with you guys.
Absolute pleasure, Mickey. And I would love to have you back. Maybe next time we can have some of your students, and maybe we can sit there and check out how you do things. I think that'd be really, really fascinating. I listened to your tuba quartet, your students, and you're doing a good job over there, bro. Those guys can play. Anyway, we're gonna be back in the month of March for another episode, for more episodes of Conical Supremacy. But we're gonna be on Sundays coming up in the month of March. So everybody out there, put that on your calendars. So we'll be back next Sunday, and Doug, we'll figure out who that's gonna be. And I just want to thank everybody out there for tuning in and checking us out, and keep checking us out for Conical Supremacy. I'm having an absolute gas, and with guests like this, it makes it really, really simple. And Doug, you got anything else before we go?
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or morning. Especially you, Mickey. Have a wonderful morning. Good luck tonight. And We'll be back next week for another episode of Conical Supremacy. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.